Hey, somebody needs to sweep home plate. You have? Excellent. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. You're listening to The Professional Noticer. Hello, everyone. I'm Andy Andrews. Hey, thank you for making me a part of your week. My purpose here today and with every show we do is to play the part of a best friend or a coach. I want to help you live the life of your wildest dreams by giving you access to the greatest mentors the world has to offer today. This week, The Professional Noticer is sponsored by WisdomHarbor.com. Today, families and school systems all over America are finding WisdomHarbor.com's one-of-a-kind streaming service to be the perfect low-cost, high-quality educational tool for their students. Wisdom Harbor's stated responsibility is to create the next greatest generation, starting with your hometown and your school system. For less than $3 a month per teacher, classrooms have access to original content only found on WisdomHarbor.com that teaches, entertains, and builds character in young people while creating conversations between young people and the adults in their community. Utilizing video, audio, and the written word, content is delivered in small bites by Grammy winners, CEOs, comedians, chefs, best-selling authors, and Hall of Fame speakers. There are even guitar lessons from an award-winning songwriter. Check it out today and join your friends and neighbors who are already a part of WisdomHarbor.com. And isn't it time your schools got involved? WisdomHarbor.com, creating America's next greatest generation, starting with your hometown. Observations and answers, that's what we do here on The Professional Noticer. And of course, you know we love it when somebody comes to the table with both. And today, I am more than excited. As you know, I have worked with a lot of coaches in my life and a lot of programs, athletic programs, but I gotta say, I am more excited about this coach and the team that he represents than I've told people, I said, look, I'm an Alabama football fan, but I'm having more fun going to these games than going to Bryant-Denny Stadium. So please welcome the head coach of the Orange Beach Varsity High School Lady Makos softball team. Please welcome Coach Shane Alexander.
Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, Coach. Hey, man, I called you last night and just begged you to come on. I said, man, this is, and I have to tell people what's going on. If you haven't seen any of my social media recently where I've been screaming this from the rooftops, the Lady Makos softball team just won their fourth state championship in a row. And to be clear, that's back to back to back to back. But they also are now, at the end of our season, we're the nation's #1 ranked team nationally. Max Prep Sports, which is they're the Bible of high school athletics, has ranked the Orange Beach Lady Makos #1 in the nation. How does that feel?
Yeah. I just, I don't look at it a whole lot, if I'm being honest. You know, periodically I'll look on there. I do use Max Preps to look up stats, and if we're playing somebody I'm not familiar with. But you know, I don't look at the rankings a whole lot.
You just have to rely on goobers like me to remind you. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they send me a weekly, updated rankings, and every now and then I'll peek at it. But it's a big deal.
Well, I want to take people through the history of this. Yeah. You had won a state championship before you came here. So you were a known commodity that they brought you in for this new high school. And the high school started 4 years ago. And so the first year, you had 7th and 8th grade girls.
Yeah.
Playing varsity ball.
Yeah, we had 7th, 8th. When we have some 9th and maybe 1 or 2 10th graders. So, yeah, we had to transport most of the girls to the field to practice because none of them drove. I mean, it was just a strange, it was a strange thing. But yeah, that's, to me, looking back, we didn't know what we were doing, or I don't think the girls knew what was going on, if we're being honest. They had no idea how the playoffs worked. We had to, they were just playing softball. And now it's grown into this
monster.
Yeah, that, there's no more hiding. And
that first year, obviously you snuck up on people. And here's this 7th grader, Ava Hodo, who hit a walk-off home run in the last game, the state championship game of the season. And I remember everybody was very excited, but you couldn't help kind of thinking, wow, our 7th and 8th graders beat everybody in the state. You kind of think, it's a fluke, But then the next year with 8th and 9th graders, you did it again.
Yeah, to me, that first year, I knew they were pretty good. But I knew they were young, so I wasn't quite sure. But I think it was midway through that year, we were playing, we were in the Gulf Shores tournament. We stuck them in the Gulf Shores tournament. And when I got the bracket, I was like, wow, we play Hoover 3rd game. That's big time.
Yeah.
And so I'll never forget it. Daigle hit a home run like in the 6th or 7th inning to put us up 2. And, we held on and won that game. And I remember telling Jody, I said, Jody, these girls they just beat Hoover.
Yeah, beat Hoover. And at that point, Daigle was in the 9th grade. Was it the second year?
Was she 9th?
Or was it the first?
That was the first year.
Oh, she was in the 8th grade.
Yeah, she hit a home run. And I was like, wow, and I kind of knew then that, wow, these girls got a chance to be good. And, and then people kind of started paying attention. But it was funny because nobody really respected us that year, because they'd come out with we were 2A at the time, the rankings. And, I think maybe we got to 7th or 8th in 2A. And I was like, oh, they still don't believe it. And so, yeah, it's funny how it's grown into this.
So then that second year, now you have mostly 8th and 9th graders.
Yeah.
Because Ava, Tegan, they're in the 8th grade now.
Mm-hmm.
And Daigle just 9th grade. And so then you win it again.
Yeah, and that was, if we go back to that first year, we played Pisgah in that state finals. And if you know anything about high school softball, Pisgah, I think they've won 10 state championships. And back when I was at Hartselle, Pisgah was a small school up on the mountain, but they would go anywhere and play anybody. It didn't matter the classification. And I remember telling Jody I said, I want to be like Pisgah is in North Alabama. We'll play anybody. And so and all through that year, we'd have team meetings, and I would tell the girls, I said, at some point, you're going to have to go through Pisgah. I said, these are country girls who are, gritty, I said, you're going to have to go through them at some point. And the coach, Billy Duncan, is a good friend of mine, and to get them in the playoffs or in the state championship game was I was like, wow. Was
that the first year or second year?
That was that first year.
First year.
Well, then the second year, everybody's, well, that was a fluke. That second year, I felt more pressure because, well, can they do it again?
Yeah.
But
and you mentioned Jody. Jody Hodo is one of your assistants. He's the hitting guru for the team.
Phenomenal. Best hitting coach, and I'd say the country for what
we have proof of that now.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, it was me and Jody from the beginning, and just trying to figure things out with a new school, and it was
okay. So then third year.
Well,
that was last year.
Yeah, so third year we got bumped up to 4A, But
let me just say, even though they're 4A, they're playing 7A teams.
Yeah,
they're playing everybody.
Yeah, most of our schedule is 6A, 7A.
Yeah, I mean, Hoover's 7A,
Yeah. I think the only 4A games we played was our area games, which you're required to do. And we had always, my philosophy had always been, I'm going to throw you in the deep end, see if you can swim. And these girls can swim. And we schedule up. But I always, when I was at Hartselle, I worked for a baseball coach, got by the gentleman by the name of William Booth, who just recently passed away. But I think he was at Hartselle for 50-something years. All-time winningest coach, high school baseball coach in Alabama. And I think he has 10 state championships. And he would always tell me when I was assistant, we're going to go play. If the Yankees will schedule us, we'll schedule them. He didn't care. He said, I don't care what your record is. You could be 20-20 and win a state championship. And that always stuck with me, that he would go, we went to California, we'd go to South Carolina, we'd go anywhere and play anybody. And it always prepared us for the playoffs. So when I came down here, I said, well, I'm going to take his philosophy in that and schedule and let's just see.
Right. Right.
People always ask me all the time, well, how many wins do you have? I have no idea. I really don't. I don't keep up with it. To me, it's what you do in May when those playoffs begin, how you do. So, William Booth, I give him a lot of credit for that. So
that is just that's awesome. So then the third year, last year you won it again. So then we go into this year, and this year, I mean, we've got the back-to-back T-shirts. You've won 3 state championships in a row. The city we have a Lady Makos stadium with AstroTurf, and we're not sneaking up on anybody.
No.
In fact, there are teams from other states coming down here to play us. I got to tell you a story. Last year when we played the Mustangs from Kentucky. What team was that?
McCracken?
Yeah. And I get to the stadium, and I'm just last year just kind of getting my feet wet with all this and figuring out who's who. And so I get there, and somebody says to me, McCracken's the number 6 team in the country. I said, really? So, yeah, they're number 1 in Kentucky, number 6 in the country. Like, oh, okay. So I've got a friend in Paducah, Kentucky that is general manager of 13 radio stations. And so it was 18 minutes to go. I had McCracken, Orange Beach, Makos up on the scoreboard. And I just took a picture of the field and everything. And I said, 18 minutes to go, McCracken versus Orange Beach. And I didn't hear anything from him. And so right after the game, he came back and texted me and said, hey, I just saw this. I've been out and sorry. And he said, what are you doing there? And I said, well, I was watching a game. He said, I'm into this team. He said, really? You know the players on your team? I said, oh yeah, I know. And I said, did you know that your team, McCracken, was number 6 in the nation? He said, I didn't. He said, I'm sure some of our sports guys at the radio stations know that. And I said, yeah. I said, you guys have 3 girls who are already signed to big schools, and we have a bunch of 9th and 10th graders on our team. That's what I said. Now, see, I'm typing this, and the game's already over. I already know the game's over. He don't know the game's over. And so we beat them 11-1. Okay, we mercy ruled them. Yeah. All right. And so I said, yeah, you guys have 3 that are signed to big schools. We have, basically 8th, 9th, and 10th graders. And he said, oh, really? I said, yeah, it's a small town. We have 5,000 people in our town. I said, yeah, there were a lot of tears after the game. I felt sorry for the girls. And he said, I take it McCracken won. I said, oh, heck no, it's your girls who was crying. I said, we mercy ruled them. But just seeing that and seeing the the confidence that these girls brought into this year.
Yeah. And I will say about McCracken, that's one of my favorite coaches. He is the first one every year to schedule. I mean,
Really?
he's already 2 weeks ago, he's already emailed me, hey, we're coming back down. We want to play you.
Wow.
He said, we want to play the best. I was like, because we have a hard time finding games.
I know.
There's people that will not schedule us. So
Yeah, I've heard of one that's not scheduling us anymore.
But yeah, as far as the confidence, I think they've realized that they can play with it. They can play with anybody, and I think playing pace and facing Jaden, that's if you can.
And she signed to Florida State.
She's going to LSU.
LSU, that's right.
And,
the pitcher going to LSU.
Yeah, they just won the 6A state championship in Florida and finished 5th
in the nation.
Yes.
And so they're close enough. We played them. We played, in fact, I have this written down. They ended up this year with the Florida State Championship, number 5 in the nation, and they compiled a record of 44-2. And the only 2 games they lost were to the Lady Makos.
Yeah, I think in the last 2 years, Jaden's lost 4 games. Was it 4 games? And 3 of them were to us. Oh, she's good. And I think that's part of it is if you can, I mean, I think she was ranked the number 1 or number 2 pitcher in the country.
Yeah.
If you can beat her,
yeah,
I mean, you're not going to see better. And that's the whole idea of playing them was if you can beat Jaden, there's nobody in the state of Alabama you're going to face that's better than her. Now
that's what I always said, man, they're facing KG in practice.
Yeah.
Like our girl, KG Favors, our number 1 pitcher. And I want to kind of finish this, and then we'll go into some individual stuff. But so mid-year, we show up on some national rankings, and everybody. I remember being so excited when we were like number 7,
Yeah.
And I went to the ballpark that night, and I told everybody, I said, no, we're number 7. Everybody said, yeah, I know we're number 7. I said, no, wait a minute. Here's what you got to understand. There are currently 24,133 varsity girls softball programs in America, and we're number 7. And people said, really? Well, now they're 24,133, and we're number 1. That kind of doesn't even register.
Yeah. I don't know if we've had this conversation. As far as those rankings, I've always said this, that Alabama kind of gets the short end of the stick because we play so many games. I think a Florida, a Texas, California, they may only play 25 games.
Right.
I mean, last year we played 57. This year we were, I don't know, we're 46-1. We played 47 games.
Yeah.
That's, to me, I think that's why a lot of Alabama schools don't get ranked, is because you're probably going to lose 3, 4, 5 games in a year.
Yeah. It's a lot easier to go undefeated playing 22 games than it is playing 50.
Well, it's and that's, to me, that's always been, I've seen rankings in the past where, this team, and I go see that team or I watch that team and I was like, there's a couple teams in Alabama I feel like better than that, but their record, because they play so many games, they don't get that national recognition. So, but yeah, I think we won 34 in a row to start the year, and people were having that conversation of, well, you got a chance to go undefeated. And I was like, oh, that's the last thing we need to worry about is going undefeated. And I could tell the girls were hearing it, thinking about it. And so
it's hard not to think about it when you're on the streak like that.
Yeah. But I told Jody before we went to Hoover, I said, Jody, we're going to take one on the chin this week. I said, so we need to be prepared of how we're going to handle it, because we're going to go to Hewitt and play Hewitt and Plainview. That was in the Champions Challenge.
He played 8 games in 2 days.
Yeah, I said, against quality
Right.
teams.
These are all big teams.
Yeah, and I was like, we're going to take one on the chin. And we did, but the thing that, it was the 8th game of about 4th or 5th inning where we had one bad inning.
Yeah.
So we were one bad inning away from running the table. That to me is like, wow, that's impressive.
Yeah. And no varsity high school girls team has ever run the table in Alabama.
No. And I've seen some good teams. It's hard to do.
Right.
It's hard to do.
So let me ask you, how did you go into this season, knowing you had 3 in a row, and knowing you're bringing back the same girls, you got a chance for 4. What did you do to calm them down, to fire them up? What?
I think one thing that we do, I would say we do it really well, is we kind of, I don't know if we insulate them from the noise. I mean, we go into a season, especially with the expectations. I mean, we grind. I mean, we just, we don't talk about, I don't know. I just feel like we do a really good job of keeping their feet grounded, and just doing what we do is we work. I mean, these girls work.
I want to tell you a couple of things that I noticed this year, and I want you to comment on these things. I've worked with a lot of teams, and I've been on a lot of practice fields, and I've seen in the locker rooms, on the practice fields, on the sidelines, in the dugout, on the bench, and I hear and I see. You just can't help but I have been frankly blown away that these girls show as little pressure as they do. I haven't seen, I did not, now you may have heard it, but I never, and I watch for this kind of thing, and we made errors this year. Our batters struck out some. Mm-hmm. I never saw anybody moping. I never saw anybody crawling on somebody else for missing a play.
Yeah.
Now I saw some upperclassmen teaching, but I never saw anybody pouting or.
I think some of our core values, one of them is positivity. You can come to a practice or even at a game, we're not yellers. I had a high school coach that I was scared to death at practice and at a game. And I always felt like I couldn't perform because I was worried, what is he going to get me next? And
right.
I always said when I was coaching, I was not going to coach that way. We don't yell at practice. But I think one thing we do well is we talk to the girls a lot. You're going to fail. You're going to make errors. And I think having Coach Boyd with her perspective of,
That's your other assistant.
Yeah, she was a 3-4-time All-American at Arizona State, won a national championship, played on the U.S. national team. Hearing when she talks to the girls about, I went 0 for 3 against, I struck out, just hearing it come from her, I think kind of helps them that you're not always going to be perfect. We talk about body language all the time. You go for 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts, so be it. There's always tomorrow, the next day or the next game. And, we always talk next pitch, and so we don't dwell on it. You make an error, and so I think that's one thing they know with us is we're not going to yell and scream. We're not going to get mad. We're going to, hey, shake it off, next pitch. And we try to keep them loose and have fun, because when they're loose and having fun, the talent's there.
It is so funny to me to watch sometimes as these games are about to take place, to see an opposing team over there that looks like they are just about to do. They're so stiff and so nervous. And then over here's Tegan and, somebody else like dancing, and they're playing music over the thing, and they're doing the Cotton Eye Joe. Or I looked over one time and they were bopping a volleyball around.
Yeah.
And they're happy.
We try, and when I say we keep it loose, it's not,
it's not disorganized.
No, it's we want them to be relaxed and play. And I can tell when the girls, I can tell when they're tense, and we've always said you can tell when a kid has a routine that they do every time they step into a box. I can tell you every girl on our team what their routine is. It may be making a cross in the dirt. It may be, it's a routine.
Tapping that right foot 5 times.
It's a routine.
Yeah.
I can tell when a girl's nervous, or, before she steps in the batter's box, she doesn't go through a routine. And I'm like, okay, hey, time,
Yeah.
And some of the young girls, they'll get a chuck. I always, if I call it, some of the young ones, I might come, is this moment too big for you? And I'll ask them, and I've had one or two crying, no, I'm not sure. And I'm like, I've done that to Elsie or Taylor, and I'm like, is the moment too big for you? No, sir. And I said, just relax. I said, you've played 45 games, relax. And so we try to keep it, as loose as we can. They know at practice, when it's time to go to work, we work. But when we come off the field in the dugouts, we're gonna cut up and have a good time. But that's the one thing I like about this group is when it's time to clock in and work, they work. When we clock out, we cut up. And I had a conversation yesterday with, I think we said, was it Channel 5, the TV station? They were asking me about KG. I said, when she gets in that circle, she's different.
Yeah.
She's competitive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now, when she's out of that circle off the field, she's a big cut up.
Yeah.
But that's the way we want them to be, is when they cross the line, it's time to compete. But
and KG Favors, this is our junior pitcher. Threw several no-hitters this year. Has a 72-mile-an-hour fastball, a 53-mile-an-hour changeup that she throws for strikes, and a .70 career ERA.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, but you're right, man. When she's in that circle, she's intimidating.
Oh yeah, she's as competitive a pitcher as I've ever had.
And so she's committed to South Carolina, but has another year to play here. And which that just brings a smile to your face, doesn't it?
Yes.
And we talked to her dad up in the stands. Robert has the radar gun. If there's not a scout with a radar gun, and we go, how fast was that? And
it's something. I don't know. This would be something we'd have to look up. She's won the last 3 state tournament MVPs. I don't know if anybody's ever done.
I don't know
3 or 4.
She has 614 varsity strikeouts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, that's incredible. This year, it's like every time she was pitched, it was like there's 10 more, there's 14 more, there's 12 more. And so, I told her one day, I said, I would stand in against you because you have such great control. I don't think I could hit you, but I would stand there.
I don't know if I'd dig in either.
Oh my gosh.
She might buzz the tower with
Oh
me,
my
but,
gosh.
Yeah.
So what was the worst moment for you this year?
It was the Daigle.
Yeah.
It was the Daigle. That was, anytime one of your kids gets hurt, softball's not important at that time.
Right. And so that was that
was the
semifinal game,
winter bracket game
at the state tournament.
That was 100-mile-an-hour fastball hit from the left side, so it's got a different spin on it. But to me, it just took a weird hop.
It was like a one hop.
Yeah,
it took a weird.
It took a weird hop. I can still hear the sound of that in my head.
Got her right in the face.
Yeah, knocked her.
And man, she went down and didn't move.
Yeah, she was out. When I got to her, she was out. So to me, that's, I can handle losing game, but I don't want my kids to get hurt.
Right.
So, but it's weird is, a lot of the corner positions, first and thirds, will wear masks. You hardly ever see a shortstop or a second baseman wear it because they're so deep. But that ball was hit so hard. That to me, that was the worst moment of the season.
I was watching that on television, and I got my travel screwed up and couldn't make it to Oxford. And I was watching that on television, and it happened so fast. And then she didn't move.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm trying to text her dad, but of course, so is everybody in the southeastern United States. And what am I thinking? Trying to text her dad during that time. That was crazy. But I was amazed that it took that long to get her off the field.
Yeah, we were too. We were wondering where the ambulance, luckily our trainer David Nix was there, which
right.
He's the best I've ever been around. But yeah, it took a long time to get her out of there.
And there was obviously nobody knew what damage the ball had done because there was a lot of blood.
A lot of blood, yeah.
And as it turned out, it broke both bones on the side of her nose, but did not, thank God, break the orbital bones in her eyes. But both bones, her nose, and it gave her a severe concussion. And I'm sure you've heard this story by now, but when they were putting her in the ambulance, Matt, her dad, turned around and the girls are all crying. And he went up to them and said, "Hey, straighten up. You got to win this game."
Yeah. Because
when she wakes up in the hospital, I can't tell her you lost.
Right.
And they were like, "Yes, sir."
Yeah. That was a rallying moment for our team.
She's one of your huge leaders.
Oh yeah.
And so just so people will know who Daigle is, a junior shortstop. She's one of the highest ranked college prospects in the nation. She's already committed to Auburn. And she's 6 feet tall and fast as the wind.
Yeah.
She's got another year left in her high school career, but she's already stolen 196 bases. And did you know that she is ranked number 3 in the nation in runs scored with 267? I mean, that's just, in fact, there's a joke up in the stands. Every time Daigle gets on first base, I'll turn to everybody and I go, "Kreskin says she's about to steal."
Yeah.
And of course, I don't know that she did she ever get caught this year? I don't know that she ever got caught.
This year, I don't know if she did this year. I remember last year, I think she got thrown out once, and I was like, wow.
Shocked.
But she got a bad jump and kind of slipped, and so.
Right.
But we always tell people, she gets hit a lot too. I think she's been hit. Her first couple years, it was like 11 times every year.
Yeah.
And I think this year was up there too.
It was up there too.
And I was like, I don't want anybody to get hit, but that's like a double.
Yeah, it is a double. Because
It's a double.
she gets on first base,
Yeah,
she's on the second,
it's a double.
first pitch.
So, whether she bunts or walks or whatever she does, if she gets to first, just put her at second.
Yeah.
So, so that was going into the state championship game. That was my biggest concern, because having her at the top of the lineup, with that speed, that was the big concern. But
And so for that game, you moved Katie King to shortstop.
moved her to short.
Katie's our third baseman.
And then Addie Oldham, who played third for us, last year and some this year. She came in and played third. So, but yeah, it's taking Daigle's speed and bat out of the lineup. That was the biggest concern.
I want to ask you just about several of these specific players. Tell me, we've talked about KG and Daigle. Tell me about Ava. Ava Hodo. Now, Ava Hodo is a first-team high school All-American, and the number one ranked college prospect in her graduating year. She was in the 10th grade this year.
She's in my years of doing this, she would be on my Mount Rushmore of players I've had a chance to watch.
Her emotions seem totally in check.
Yeah.
I mean, whether she just jacked it over the fence or struck out.
She's the most humble kid. If anybody had a chance to, but she is just here. Her softball IQ is unbelievable. I mean, I don't think many people know this, but when KG pitches, we let Ava call the pitches. She is that intelligent behind the plate.
Wow.
Yeah, she literally, and you'll see her because me and her dad will sit next to the bucket, and if you'll watch her, she's looking at feet, she's looking at where the batter is in the in the batter's box, and she's college ready for doing that.
How unusual is it for a 10th grade catcher to have a 9.90 fielding average and to throw out every opposing runner who tried to steal on her?
Yeah, you don't see that. A lot of coaches go through a career and they may get to see something like that, but she's a kid that in a few years we're going to be watching on ESPN,
right?
College World Series. She's that type of player,
right?
And she's as good a hitter as I've seen. I think she only struck out 3 times this year.
3 times. And I have looked, and the national record for home runs, maybe I don't want to get everybody talking about this, but the national high school record career for home runs is 75. Ava has 2 more full seasons, and she's at 51.
Yeah. And we talked we don't talk to the players about this, but we felt like the home run numbers overall were down this year. I think, what was it, the year before she hit 21 or something like that. But
she got 13 this year.
But then throughout the state last year, there was a couple kids that were up around in the 20s, low 20s. But this year, I don't know if it was the ball. I don't know what it is, but the numbers were down. Even those players that hit 20 at different schools who came back this year, their numbers were down also.
Right.
Me personally, I'm not pitching to Ava Hodo.
And a lot of them didn't.
They
I mean, there were 4-pitch walks. There were some intentional walks.
Yeah.
But she didn't have anything to hit.
Yeah.
But I hear you. Yeah, I wouldn't pitch to her.
I mean, maybe certain situations, but for the most part, I'm being very careful with her. The thing that we're very fortunate about is having somebody behind her to protect her. Well, if you're going to walk her and put her on, then the batter behind better be able to swing it.
Right.
And in our case, we have a couple of them.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Now, Coach, let me just say something. You got more than a couple of them.
Yeah, we got 9.
Because when your number 9 hitter, a 9th grader, hits 2 home runs in one game, you ain't got nobody you can pitch around.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know this, but after LC hit 2 home runs in one game, as a 9th grader, the number 9 hitter in the lineup, and then there was another one that Kinsey hit one over the fence, and Cadence hit one over the fence. And I thought, how many people on this team have hit the ball over the fence? And do you know that there's 9 starters, and this year you had 14 players hit the ball over the fence?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't get that. You know.
That's just crazy.
But if you see it at practice, you know, one of our big things is drive the golf cart, go around the outfield, pick up all the balls, because it's that's normal. And it's gotten to where it just doesn't. The thing that impresses me now is, you know, we've got that hitting facility.
Right.
We measured it 60 feet from the fence. So 260 feet to the base of so now we're judging where the balls are landing up on the building. We're like, I think that was 275. That was.
I know.
And then, you know, we had an 8th grader, MK. She hit one up on the roof. I was like, all right, we got to figure that one out. That could be a 300-foot shot. So those are the ones we like to talk about at practice, was like, all right, where did you hit it on the building?
Yeah.
If you got it over the fence, we see that.
Yeah.
We see that. That's
Matt
nothing.
told me he went picked up balls after practice outside the fence, and one day picked up 63 balls.
Oh, yeah. It's you know, there's also in kind of right center field, there's a sand area with they got a ship that the kids play on. And I get worried. I'm like, I see kids out there, and I'm like,
want to move that.
I said, Jody, let's pitch inside today so we can pull them, but you know, don't pitch any outside. I'm afraid some kid playing on the ship out there, because I've seen KG hit one out to that ship, and I'm like, wow, that's yeah.
So tell me about Tegan. Tegan seems to be the spirit, the happiness of that.
She is. When Tegan's in that Tegan mode, to me, Tegan, she has unbelievable power for somebody her size.
Yeah, she was one behind Ava in the home runs this year.
Yeah, she has unbelievable power, speed. She is, she's a freak athlete. She is an unbelievable athlete. Her mom texted me last night, by the way, and she was like, I don't know where maybe they were in Florida. And she said, Tegan hit 5 home runs this weekend. I was like, wow. She hit 2 off the pitcher from Daphne.
Wow, yeah.
I said, she hit 5 home runs this weekend? I was like, yeah. So
Tegan's her second baseman, 10th grader.
Yeah.
And, man, she steals, she hits for power. She's an
unbelievable athlete with power. But you know, Tegan, Tegan tends to get down on herself a little bit, which, I said, honey, you're batting 480.
Yeah.
You're gonna be fine. So
yeah, she was. She had a 480. She had 13 home runs this year. She has 231. She's in the 10th grade. 231 varsity hits and 45 career home runs.
And she sat out half a year.
Right.
When she tore ACL. So her and Ava are.
Yeah. I mean, both 10th graders.
Yeah.
Good grief. Now, Katie King she's fast and man, what a glove.
Yeah, she's smooth. She is defensively, she's as good, and that's the thing, when she moved in, it was like, she's a shortstop. I said, well, yeah, I said, I got a shortstop.
Yeah.
Somebody I've been in the foxhole with who I trust. I said, well, wait till you see her. And I was like, okay. So when she comes to practice, and I'm like, oh yeah, what are you going to do? I'm like, can she play third? And I think everybody thought
she has a gun for an arm.
Yeah. I said, she's really good at third. But she can play any position. She's probably not a first baseman, but she's, I guess, a utility player. You can put her anywhere.
Right. Put her anywhere.
And so I think that was the thing this year when she came in. Everybody was like, well, are you going to move Daigle? I'm like, why would I move Daigle?
Right.
I like Daigle. I like what I said, if we can put her here and Daigle, I said, God, that fist becomes really, really strong. Because, you always want to be strong up the middle. Catcher, short, second, center fielder. But I said, man, we're pretty good. If you look at our infield.
Listen, I have heard more than a few times, in your infield, you have 3 juniors and 3 sophomores, 3 11th graders and 3 10th graders if KG starting, right? And I've heard more than one time that is the best high school infield in America.
I believe it. And I believe it.
Didn't the Arkansas coach tell you they're a college infield now?
College infield, yeah. But, it's one of those things where, you could put Katie at short, but then I don't see Daigle playing third. So it was one of those where I think it just worked out where I think Katie can play that position, and so
I'm shocked. I'm shocked at how many double plays y'all turned this year.
Yeah.
I don't know how many, but I'm always shocked when I see one because it's just it has to be done so quickly and so perfectly.
Yeah, it's you don't see it a whole lot because you got somebody like Daigle batting. You're not gonna double
her off.
Yeah, you're not doubling her up. So it's got to be. It's not like baseball where you get 6-4-3 double play. It's got to.
I've got a great sequence picture of Tegan taking the ball at second and getting rid of it so fast to Daigle coming across the bag at first, and at second, and then Daigle cocking and firing. It's pretty stunning. I've got two players I want to ask you about. These 2 players fascinate me, and I bet you know which ones it's going to be. It's your 2 starting 9th graders, L.C. Robbins and Taylor Poland. Now, L.C., I watched her as an 8th grader last year, and she hit a home run in the state championship game as an 8th grader. She's our center fielder, diving catches. Taylor Poland is in right field, and Taylor is 4'9", 85 pounds. And at the first of the year, when she would come up to the plate, you'd see coaches in the dugout going, "Move up, getting the guys to move." And of course, she didn't just hit one over the fence; she hit more.
Yeah, she's got a little pop for her size. But I'm with you. I think we were in our first tournament in Panama City, and a coach, I remember he did the exact thing. He said, "Hey, y'all scoot in." I was like, "Oh, you have no idea." She led our team in doubles.
Really?
She had 13 doubles this year.
Oh my gosh!
She will wear that right center field gap out. But this is what I'll tell you about Taylor. You're not going to outwork her. You are not. That girl is at that field hitting nonstop. The day after we got back from the state tournament, I go by the field. She's at the field hitting. That's what she does. That's why she is so good. I tell people all the time, I said, if you can outwork Taylor Poland, you're going to be a really good player because she is up there nonstop. And she did break. I think she got to 100 pounds, she said.
No.
She's always eating peanut butter and jelly. She's always got sandwiches.
Got to 100 pounds.
She said, I got to 100 pounds. But she's got tremendous work ethic. We got to get her to relax a little at times. I think she came to me at the start of the season. We knew she could hit. We weren't sure, she was playing behind Teagan at second. And we said, I think Taylor she could probably help us hitting. I said, but where are we going to put her? And she came up to me before the season started. She said, Coach, I want to work in the outfield. And she worked and worked and worked. She's still got some things to work on in the outfield, but hitting-wise, she's ready.
Oh, yeah.
I
saw her make some great catches in the outfield.
Yeah. She still needs a little bit of work.
A couple of misjudging.
Yeah, and that's part of it. She's a ninth grader, but yeah, you're not going to outwork her. You're just not. And LC is another one of those. To me, is just the athletic ability of, she can go get it. She's got a cannon for an arm. She's just a great athlete. Her thing too is confidence. She came off the basketball court. What was that in late February, March? So she got, she missed the preseason practices, and so it took her a while. And so, to me, she was kind of struggling mentally, trying to get back and
make that change.
And I said, and we kept telling her, "See, we know what you can do." But she puts so much pressure on herself. We just, and that's another thing. We were just, if we can get her just to relax and go play. She was one of those that I've had the talk with, is this moment too big for you? And it's not. The moment's not too big for her. But yeah, they're going to be really, really good by the time they finish here. And I don't think people are going to misjudge Taylor anymore. As far as
by middle of the season, I wasn't seeing anybody slipping
the
out.
Word had gotten out.
Yeah,
she's. I think she hit maybe 3 or 4 home runs this year.
Yeah, and the last one I saw her hit was dead center field.
Yeah, but I promise you, if you go up to that field tonight, you're going to see Taylor Poland.
Wow,
that's what she does.
I have really enjoyed watching you guys play, but I've also enjoyed watching you guys practice and watching the coaching staff that you have assembled. The hitting, the infield, the drills. It's impressive.
Yeah, they make my life. Coach Boyd, Coach Hodo, Coach Hatter, Coach McLean. I've gotten to where I might be able to hit some ground balls one day or do, but the next day I'm done. I just, at my age and the way my body has been broken over the years, I can't do it.
Well, you are the mental guy here. I mean, you're the strategist and you're the daddy. You're the daddy of the team.
I'm Papa Smurf, as the girls call me. So, yeah, those assistant coaches are unbelievable.
One of the most amazing things that I told you some things that I've seen, and there have been times like watching you guys practice. I'm amazed that everybody is involved. Everybody, all the time.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a group of 5 or 6 sitting over here waiting for their turn.
Yeah. Coach Boyd she's an organizational, she is so good at that, and what she's seen at the college level, at the Olympic level. So, I love it to where the fact that, hey, what do you think we need to work on this week? And we'll have a discussion. We'll say, hey, let's work on this, and this week. And she'll come up with a plan of how, this is how we did it, at Arizona State. This is how we did it with the U.S. team. And I'm like, the beauty of having those people is I trust them with,
right,
with everything.
Right.
It's not always, in my experience in high school sports, where
I hear you.
And I had spent 6 years in the Army prior to getting an education. And when I was going through my officer training, I remembered there was 11 things you got graded on, and one of them was, delegation. And I always got dinged for delegation because I felt like if I wanted it done right, I was going to do it myself.
Yeah.
And so I remember in my observations, I always was getting dinged for, you got to learn to delegate. And I'll be honest, this is probably one of the first times in my career where I feel like I can trust my assistants where I can delegate them.
Right.
And I don't have to watch and, make sure they're teaching it correct, because I trust Jody with hitting.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go over there and change what he, if that's the terminology he wants to use, then yeah, we're going to use. And it's the same way with the infield with Boyd. You've got to be able to.
I noticed that everybody is either getting ground balls or they're running the bases during that.
Yeah. To me, and we talk about this, I think that's the biggest advantage is base running.
Yeah.
We'll go watch teams play, and they're teaching them, how to, the old baseball, how you come off the bag and you square up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and
it's so obvious that your girls are not that they just have coaches, but that they are well coached, because when you see those girls, you see that girl on first base or second base or on third base, when that pitcher's coming around, those girls their stance, the way their feet are on the bag, the way they are leaning, the angle, it's all the same, man.
We do it probably every day.
Tell me about the time there was, I know a lot of times athletes can go, why are we doing this? Why are we practicing this? And I mean, I remember hearing about Jeff Saturday hiking the ball to Peyton Manning with his hands in a bucket of water and then hiking the ball and just saying, tell me why we're doing this again. Yeah. And then when they played that Super Bowl in the rain in Miami, they found out why they were doing it. And so there was a particular thing that you guys had practiced for years and with Ava, and then it unfolded in one of the last games. It had never happened, that the person's
first and third?
Yeah, the first and third.
Yeah,
thing. Explain that, because that was just like, we were all going, what just happened? What happened?
Yeah, and first and thirds are, we're very fortunate with a first and third situation with Ava that you can do some things. Even when Tegan's back there, we can do some things. Now we've worked the first and thirds offensively. How would what would we do? Do we straight steal? Do we it's all about, can we get that runner at third home? Now we've worked it offensively. Whether you go out there halfway and stop, try to get in a rundown, because I always, at some point during the season, during practice, we'll say, all right, if I've got Daigle, Tegan, Cadence, Ken, there's a group on. If I have you on third, I think we can get you in if we do some of the things. So we've kind of worked that offensively. Okay, what are we going to do defensively if somebody does that? So the week before the state tournament, we said, well, what if somebody, let's work on it. So all that week, Coach Boyd had worked these situations. Now, it worked a little different because we always wanted the runner with the ball, the defender with the ball running towards first base. So in this situation, though, Caitlin ended up, I think Katie threw the ball too soon. So it ended up in the first baseman's hands going that towards second base, being a lefty, which was not good because she had to turn. But luckily enough that the communications that we talked about worked, and somebody, we yelled, runner, and Caitlin turned, made a perfect throw, with the tag. But that was something we had worked on that week prior. Now, we worked on it a little bit throughout the year and never had to use it. So it was just a championship game. But it was like, a left-hander going that way, she had to make a perfect turn to throw. But yeah, it was weird how that happened. And some people had said to me, well, Ava didn't tag her. If you watch the video, when the girl's helmet comes up, she obviously tagged her.
She tagged her.
But to me, that's a gutsy call on that coach's part. Gutsy. I don't know if I would have done that, because then you look at the next two batters who come up and hit deep fly balls. That girl could have just walked in on a sac fly. But then again, you got KG pitching. She might have, so I don't know. It's a gutsy call on her part. I told her that. I said, that's gutsy. I love it. But
there was one play this year, and we got a picture of it. And Matt is going to put this picture up. So, in fact, we'll have some pictures edited in this interview. But there was one play, and I've shown this picture to 100 people. And I've said, this is one of the most interesting plays you will ever see. And we came out on the bad end of it. And you'll remember this because it was Tegan coming home. She's sliding head first. She's got her hand on the plate.
Mm-hmm.
See you in the background watching it. There's the catcher. The ball is not yet to the catcher's mitt.
Yeah.
Tegan's hands on the plate. The ball's out here, mitt's here, and the umpire's already calling her out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've got that picture saved in my phone. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You probably saw it and knew she was safe. And so I've only seen you get. I've never seen you like they see them on TV. I've never seen you go nuts. But I've seen you make your point a couple of times. But when you see something like that, what is your thought? And then after the game, when you get a picture, go, oh my God.
Yeah, it's a judgment call, so they're not going to change it. It's not like the SEC where you can, hey, let's look at it. We don't, I've got a lot of friends that are umpires. And I'll tell you a story here in a little bit, but I appreciate them so much because there's such a lack of umpires in the state. I've had people say, "Hey, we've had to cancel games because there's no umpires."
Really?
I mean, they get a lot of abuse from the stands. I don't try to be that coach that.
Right.
I'm just not. Now there was an incident in the game we lost this year that.
Yeah, that one.
When if it's a judgment, yeah, I'm gonna be mad, but I'm not gonna embarrass the guy or but if it's a rule that I think he got wrong, then yeah,
And that's what happened in that game.
yes, a base runner runs over a girl fielding a ball. I mean, that's automatic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, balls and strikes, you may not like it, but you may say something. But I'm not gonna embarrass an umpire. Now, I was mad. I think that was for a region championship. Was that last year?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I had a good friend that was an umpire in North Alabama, and he was doing a game, and he blew a call. He blew a call, and I knew he blew it. And my parents are yelling, and I'm like, okay, I've got to do something. So I called time, and I storm out there. He's out there, between second and short. I go storming out there, and he said, I knew you were coming. I said, I'm out here. And he was like, yes. I told him, I said, if I don't come out here and act like I'm arguing, my parents are gonna. So we sat out there and just had a conversation, but it was like a very, how's your wife, and and we just had a conversation.
We ate at McDonald's.
But the parents thought, well, he's out there giving it to him. Well, we weren't. And he told me, he said, Shane, I blew the call. I said, yeah, I'm going to agree with you, but but when my parents, they thought I was giving it to them, and they were like, and then it died down after that. And he got, but we were out there having a conversation about nothing really. But every now and then I'll do that. And every time I see him, because he'll do playoff games, or I may see him somewhere, and he said, remember that time you came out there? And I said, oh yeah, that was classic. But I've got good, they're good people that are helping us. So sometimes I'll go out there and talk, and we'll just, and I like the umpires that you can have a conversation with. And he said, I may have missed that call. I like those kind of umpires. Right. And if he says, Shane, I think, I missed that, I don't have a problem with it. But,
right. Yeah.
But when I know it's a rule, it's not a judgment call, but it's
Tegan got run over.
Yeah, and then they want to argue about it.
And then they go talk to each other about it, and they somehow decide, no, she didn't get run over.
Yeah, the girl got. I mean,
good grief.
But yeah, I don't. Yeah.
So tell me about what are you looking at next year?
Well,
you want to take a breath before I ask you?
Well, no. I mean, the thing that's exciting is I've had people reach out, which is they want to come down here and play us. I'm like, in the past, I'm trying to find games, and this year I've had a lot of people reach out. We've also had the opportunity. There's a couple national tournaments where, when I say national, they're tournaments that are going to have some nationally ranked
gathering
teams
of Eagles.
Yes. One of them's down in Kissimmee, Florida. There's one in Bullhead City, Arizona, that draws from Arizona and California. And then there's one in Anaheim, California. So we're kind of looking at, we're going to hit one of those. We've been invited to two of them. It's just, all right, what do we got to do to raise money to get there? Because it's not going to be cheap. Obviously, Arizona, California, you're going to have to fly. But if you look at the Max Preps rankings, the Pacificas and the NorCal and
Garden Grove.
Yeah, they're all out there. If you go to Kissimmee, you've got, Bartow and Melbourne. And so, yeah, we gotta look at, that's what I'm doing now, is looking at the dates and what it would cost and then coming up with a plan of, all right, how do we get there?
All right. Some Lady Makos sponsors.
Yeah, we're going to have a GoFundMe page, or I don't know. But yeah, we need to get these girls in those types of tournaments. You can go to Hoover and play. Hoover's, to me, is the best. You're going to see the best quality. Right. But yeah, we want to do something like that next year.
Buddy, thank you for being with us.
Oh, thanks for having me. You got me out of the office.
Well, listen, I know they've got you doing double duty because you're the athletic director of the high school as well.
I am. They kind of moved me in this spring during softball season, which I've been drinking out of a fire hose. So I've been working on eligibility all day today, and I'm just tired of looking at the computer screens.
Wow. You have so much support, and nobody is a bigger fan of yours than I am.
Oh, I know.
So yeah. I really appreciate you. And anything I can ever do, I will. So
and I'm going to be reaching out.
All right, buddy. All right. Thank you again.
Thanks for having me.
I'm Andy Andrews, the professional noticer, harnessing common sense and wisdom to plow through challenges all the way to an answer for you. And I think that'll do it for this week. Get us out of here, Matthew. So, ladies and gentlemen, and to the boys and girls who aspire to become ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of another episode of The Professional Noticer, the official podcast of the Orange Beach Lady Makos. In a world where common sense has become a superpower, I'm harnessing the tiny bit of mental energy I have for you, seeking wisdom, making observations, and endeavoring to answer tough questions in a way that will empower your family and your business. I'm Andy Andrews. Until next week, goodbye. This episode of The Professional Noticer was produced by Matt Limper. The Noticer theme written and performed by Sugarcane Jane. Autographed softballs for the cast and crew provided by Twinkle and Smoke of Beverly Hills. Additional financial consideration provided by the Hot Sauce Addiction Hotline. Are you a person who can no longer eat anything without hot sauce? Do you find yourself seeking out ever more intense experiences? If this sounds like you, the Hot Sauce Addiction Hotline is ready to help. Yes, we know your story is all too familiar to the professionals at the Hot Sauce Addiction Hotline. It all started years ago when your Uncle Frank talked you into just a little bit of Tabasco in your breakfast cereal. But that was only the beginning. Tabasco is now widely recognized as a gateway sauce to the hellacious concoctions that have now left you with no functioning taste buds to call your own. Your mouth has gradually surrendered to jalapeno, then habanero. One night, when you were depressed because your food tasted like nothing, you got into the ghost pepper powder, and it was all over. Now you gargle with Carolina Reaper. You can't kiss anyone. You can't even breathe in a child's general direction. It's time to get help. Call 1-800-GUT-FIRE. That's 1-800-GUT-FIRE. We are the Hot Sauce Addiction Hotline.